Ye-
You see in the YouTube page?
Oh, I
a
see.
black screen.
I see your initials
Is it working now?
there.
Okay. Okay. So, and I sent the link to this. Everybody should just be able to click on it. It takes you right to this. And we'll just start. I started, it's way 43 minutes into it, but this is where the tree plan part starts. So we'll just watch a few minutes of this.
Peggy, can you enlarge that?
Yep.
Sorry, I think that was me.
Shoot, come on. It's not enlarged. Oh, there we go. I don't know if it's buffering or what. Come on.
Did everybody get the link to the email that Peggy sent out? I'm assuming that's the first time you guys have saw that video. That's the first time it was released, right, to the conservation districts.
Yes. Yep.
I was able to pull it up if you want me to jump to that a mile timer too, Peggy.
To where? Oh, you're muted.
Is it not playing?
It is for me, isn't it for you guys?
No.
Oh, I'm just watching it all by myself? Jeez.
How is it? Tell us how it is.
It's pretty good for the fifth time I watched it. Hold on here.
get a little repetitive though, huh?
Oh, for Pete's sakes. Let me get out of here.
You have a little bit of lag time in your conversation.
And I don't know if it's my internet. I don't know. Let me.
Not wanting to play the video there.
Okay, do you want to take over, Josh? You know where it's at.
Let me see if I can pull it up here.
Are we still on my screen?
Yeah, if you want to just stop sharing content there.
I can't even find the button. There's no button. Oh, it's right on you. Okay.
And did you have a time on there, Peggy, that was a good time to start it? Was there a good time, Peggy, to start the, oh, we might have lost Peggy. We lost her altogether.
It looks like it's at 43:05.
43:05? Okay.
Seconds. Yep.
We'll just try this. Nothing like fun technology at the last session here. Just have to share the whole screen here. Okay, do you guys see my screen? I'm gonna need a verbal confirmation because I lost you guys.
Yes.
Okay. 43. We'll just play it for a little bit here and kind kind of give you the gist of what it is. So do you see this?
Yes.
I'm not hearing it. Is anybody else?
I'm not either, Tammy.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I see that's not working too hot. Let's call it a big surprise, a reveal for everybody. You gotta see it for yourself. It's so great. We hyped it up now. Now you guys gotta go find it yourself. But anyways, for those that were on it, Kristen, you were on it. Who else was on it? Lisa, you were on it. I think it was a very good video, no?
It was. I enjoyed it quite a bit. For a newbie.
Yeah. Yes, I also enjoyed it. This is Lisa, and I have been with the Conservation District. It'll be 3 years in May, and I still learned quite a bit from it. So even if you're a veteran, I still think you could learn.
Yeah. Kudos to those that put that together. I think Peggy's back with us. Peggy, we're just creating hype about the video. Everybody needs to click on that. Oh, there she's out again. She's in and out. Hello, Peggy.
Jeez Louise.
We said we're just creating all kinds of hype here about the video, so.
Oh, dang.
Shoot. That's all right. They kind of saw the video. Everybody's got the link to it. So, I think, you know, just good conversation, but it takes you through, correct me if I'm wrong, but it takes you through preparing a tree plan with that spreadsheet document, web soil survey, checking the soil types, making sure your trees match the soil types, and all that good stuff. So.
Yep, it is. It's really good. Through the whole video is really good. You know, and like I said in the email, the object is to get like a video library training of whatever we can think of to do to get on this YouTube site and put out there for employees, you know, to refresh for us old ones, or, you know, like I said, a new employee misses the boat on some of the training, so they can always go to this and view it. So it'll be good, I think.
Yep. And that's the idea with these videos too. We hope to get them loaded up to this archive. Isn't that right, Tanya? We're working on that as well.
As long as you get a Google password, I'm good.
Yeah, that's another technology issue. Technology is not my friend today. I'm a little upset. So, okay, well, next, I think I'll change topics here a little bit, but maybe just stick on that topic. Just kind of curious, how many people do make tree plans and do use that SD CPA 6 form? I'm assuming most everybody does. Yeah, I think that's fairly common here. So. Does anybody pipe up if you don't use those forms and you use something else to do your trees? Those we all get from NRCS anyways, so I'm assuming we're comfortable with that. Okay, moving on a little bit. I think like I say, we'll kind of leave this up for open forum, but I have a couple videos here. So earlier this spring, we were talking about fabric installation. That kind of got Facebook chatter going. And I thought there were some good videos shared. So I would like to share some of those videos and start the discussion, open it up for anybody. So we'll see how this goes, but I am going to share the content here and see if you see this. There is no video, or there is no sound to it, so don't worry if you don't hear the sound. But this one comes from Kingsbury County. So Tanya, maybe I'll let you interject afterwards and take a look. But let me know. Do you guys verbal confirmation? Do you guys see the video here?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna play it, but this is Kingsbury County laying their fabric here. Feel free to narrate, Tanya, if you want to.
There's not much to narrate. We just really just wanted to put out a video for our public on how we put fabric down, because so many people have questions if they plant the trees first or the trees go in last after fabric. So that's why we made this video. It's a long video. My husband didn't shorten it up like I told him to. But in the middle, it does show how we put on our fabric and get it started. So any of you that never done it, you can check that out. And don't look at his butt crack, you guys. That was supposed to be edited out.
Sorry. I started because I saw that fabrics. I didn't play it this far, so I apologize. It happened.
In this summer, we're hoping to come out to a couple different districts and actually record you guys with your fabric machine, because I don't have the same as someone else. And we're hoping to do it on a tree planter too, how to use the tree planter and set it up and hook it up and get your trees ready, just so we can have it for new employees.
Okay, very good. I got another, let me see if I can pull this up. I have to. Yeah, let me pull up another video, 1 second. I thought that was good to see. Just when I see other districts putting down fabric, it's just interesting to see how they do it, and everybody's got a little different techniques. So I noticed that you mark the trees, Tanya, and you and then you cut them out later.
Yeah, I just don't trust these kids cutting the trees on the planter. It goes too fast sometimes, and I've seen those knives cut hands, like slit them almost a thumb off before. So I told them we just take it easy, safety first.
Sure.
Is that faster to cut it after than cutting it while on the fabric laying machine?
Yeah, we've tried it both ways, and I just think cutting on machine is not safe. Sometimes the kids don't always find the spot to cut it, or they cut the tree when they're on the machine. So the kids in back that are cutting the slits, they can feel where the tree is and know not to cut that tree either. So sometimes when you're going too fast, that tree gets slits, and I've had people comment on that before, and I knew exactly when it was.
Do you have any issues with the trees being under the fabric that long if it's hot?
We try not to go that hot on hot days. I start my crew at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning on fabric. So usually our fabric will go until like max 2 o'clock. When it's like 75 degrees out, I stop them guys right away, and then we just come in.
Sure.
We do the same way and cut. The one that rides on the planter only marks the tree. Then the one behind cuts and pulls it through, and then 2 staplers behind that. And we work on hot days, and we've never had a problem with burning a tree. But I just think they go fast. That's why.
Are you marking that with chalk?
Yes.
That's how we do it too. That's up here. That's how the system we have to marking the trees. So the next video, if is Annie Walker on there? I got a video from her to show.
Yeah, I'm here.
Reeds versus Reeds.
So, in case you guys didn't catch it, we have a kid lay down on the fabric machine and put one staple in. And then I usually have two walking behind them to put one more staple in at each tree. We typically can fabric a site in about the same amount of time that it takes us to plant the trees. We go pretty fast, and I've got a really good crew too. So.
I thought that looked very interesting to that you're cutting on the cutting and pulling, that two-man system there.
You kind of need someone that's laying down on the machine needs to have long arms and needs to have good upper body strength. It's not for everyone on the crew, that's for sure. But no, if you get someone really good at cutting, we rarely cut trees off. And our holes are pretty decent. But I have kids that have come back, 3 years, and they're coming back again this spring too. So that helps a lot.
People are on your fabric crew in general, everybody.
So on mine, I usually take 4 kids, plus me driving the tractor.
Okay, I have one more to show. I ventured off to Spink County. So if Ivy's around, or Dennis, if you want to help narrate this video, but I think it's still pulled up here, so I'll share that with you guys.
Yeah, so what we do, we just have one kid sitting on the back. He cuts and pulls, and then one falling behind, throwing staples down. That's Alan on the machine cutting. He's been doing it for like 6 years. He's pretty much a pro at it. So I don't know. It works for us. It's what Spink's been doing for quite a few years, I believe. So.
Miner does it the same way, and Spink County is who trained him, and they've been doing it for. You got to have the same cutter, so that they're good enough to do the cutting and pulling all at the same time.
Yeah, it takes talent. I've tried it, and it takes a long time to get it down.
We do the same. We do the cut and pull on the machine, and then I've got 2 walkers.
Marshall County does the same. We have the same cutter. Well, the one person does all the cutting for the year. And then we have 3 walkers actually behind, pulling the tree through and stapling and stepping the tree in if it needs to be. Seems to work.
Sounds like the key is returning crew members, huh?
If only.
We've had different cutters over the years. It's doable. It's nothing. You got to be a little flexible. Snow, nothing that. So we've had since I've been here in 19 different people doing it. So I'm a little too old to do it. That's what the kids are for.
Yeah, and part of the reason that started that conversation, I posted a picture. Can you see, what do you see on my screen? Do you see that picture of that seedling?
Yes.
So I know Tammy mentioned this too, but anybody want to talk about fabric slits versus fabric cuts? The reason you could see what happened to this seedling, it did not line up with the fabric. And so it was touching, and that did kill that seedling. You could see the black part on there. It is regenerating. You can see it's regenerating below, but that is a slit cut, and those are not, correct me if I'm wrong, but somebody pipe in, but those are not NRCS specs to do as such.
You're right, it either has to be a C, J, or an X.
That's kind of a good result of what happens when you don't. Does anybody else have issues with their cuts, or too big, too little?
I think that was the majority of our death loss, and we didn't have that bad, but after walking several of the jobs, I think it was fabric rubbing, or tree was planted too high, too low, and then not the air, you know, touching the roots was like the 5th problem.
Does everybody tuck the flap in when they're doing it, or do you just leave the flap? Like if you do a C or a J, half moon, whatever it is, do you tuck it or do you just let it go?
My crew is supposed to tuck it with a staple, with the one staple that goes by the tree. It happens most of the time.
Do you think that staple being too close to the tree as the tree is growing, or do you not see an issue?
Haven't seen an issue with that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I have concern for that too. If that staple grows into the tree, if that's a problem, or for fabric removal down the line, that's going to be growing into the roots or the tree, pulling that out. I don't know. Correct. So everybody wants a small slit because they don't want the weeds. But if you want the tree to live, you want the big slit, but then they don't want the weeds. It's kind of a happy medium with cuts.
So if it's for a program like CRP and the producer wants a slit, you just simply say, we have to go by NRCS standards, and that's XYZ.
Well, NRCS can take away the cost share if it's not done right, or else the producer has to go out and fix the slits, at least in our office.
NRCS standards are a 12-inch square, correct? Oh. Used to be an 8-inch square. Anybody? I think the cuts have to be less than 12 inches, correct? 12 inches is the max.
So I had a producer that commented, if we're laying down fabric to prevent weeds and we cut the hole too large, why are we laying down fabric at all? That fabric is there to prevent the weeds from growing. Comments?
You could probably not cut anything and the tree's never going to be there and you won't have any weeds.
It's very true.
I think on the NRCS tech guide, isn't the purpose of fabric for conserving moisture? I don't think the main part was not for controlling weeds. It was for conserving moisture.
Right.
I think you're going to get weeds in even a staple hole is going to get weeds. So it's hard to prevent all the weeds.
I wouldn't want to
go ahead, Jean.
I just said I wouldn't want to go back to the old ways. Those tree plantings, it was about every other tree that survived, and those were hard to do. Fabric has definitely been better. And yes, I know they get a few weeds by the tree, but it isn't like having all those weeds. And then to have a cultivator hit one or two, you know, as they were cultivating.
Yeah. Any other comments on fabric? Anybody else do anything different they want to bring up? Suggest, comments?
Well, in Brookings, we don't hardly use any staples when we're laying fabric. Like, and we don't put by every tree. We don't put by any trees.
Don't you do every 3 or 4 feet?
No, not normally. Not normally. I just was talking to John about that, and yeah, we don't hardly use any, and just time consuming, but the machine lays it tight enough, I think, that we just don't have an issue with that buckling up or anything. You know, if some comes loose a little bit later and the producer says, oh, just got some fabric coming a little bit loose, we'll just give them some staples and they'll go out and put them in, but it seems to work here.
So you don't even put a staple by the tree?
No.
No staples. Okay. Oh, okay. We're just putting one by each tree. That's it. Unless it's a big rocky site or something, then they'll put one in between.
Yeah, it looks like some districts do not use mini staples.
I thought you had to use them and do every 3 or 4 feet, we read somewhere.
I think it's in the tech notes what their recommendations are, but
yeah,
I don't have them with me right now, but
it is in the tech. It's every 4 feet because my DC will measure my staples and make sure I have them far enough apart or not too close. So I have been out there a couple times redoing staples.
That's probably why his brother doesn't use them, because Jim says you have to.
Well, and Tina's right. The tech guide is a guide, although our area foresters seem to think it is a Bible.
Yeah, the tech guide is a guide. You spend too much time putting staples in for a waste of money and time. That's what you got dirt, and that's why you plow the ends in and stuff on the sides. I've been 15 years, hardly ever used staples. We staple about 6 to 10 feet on the ends and across the end, and then the splices, and away we go.
That's what we do too, John.
Yep.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think if the fabric is laying tight against ground, isn't the purpose of the staples just to keep the fabric and secure? And so if you got enough dirt along the edges, if it's laying flat, what I guess, you know, if you got some poofiness to it, put some staples in it, but I don't know.
So you ones that don't use staples, what do you do on riparians? I mean, that's a little bit trickier, isn't it?
Well, I'm not saying we use 0 staples, you know, like John said too, where the splices are at. I mean, but we just use very, very few. The fabric machine we have, you know, and I don't go out there with John and the crew, but I know that I've seen it done. And I mean, that fabric is laid so tight, you can about bounce a penny off of it. So I suppose it all depends on the machine you have too. I don't know.
And the weather.
And the weather.
Warm, it snaps right down.
Sure.
Yep.
Weather and conditions, yeah.
On the riparians though, on the riparian areas, you know, if we have to, we'll staple in every other tree or something, or in between, to keep the blousiness down, the bouncing. But overall, we don't, you know, and we haven't, I don't know, we don't get many calls for it. So we'll go back and staple a seam or something if it comes up, but you know, but as far as that, because I know other districts over here too, a couple of them I know Charlie and I talked about that. They staple a lot. And he says, how do you get away with it? I says, we never have. So I guess if we get called on it sometime, we do. But I don't know. The DC you're talking about up there, he used to skate down here and he never caught us on it. So
You're not guilty until only once you're caught.
that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I think it'd be good to share the, if somebody wants to share that tech note, but that tech note is in that, correct me if I'm wrong, in that tree planning spreadsheet as well, the fabric tech note. I'm in that Excel spreadsheet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I could follow up on that. Okay, good discussion. It's always good to hear from some of the people that have been doing this for a long time. One other topic, I guess I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. We could always come back to some of these topics. But also cooler, you know, we talked about coolers with Big Sioux Nursery a little bit, but I'm going to share a few pictures of some people's coolers. I know there's discussion of some having some building new coolers, and I always find that interesting to see how other people manage their cooler. So I'm going to see if I could get this pulled up. Okay, do you guys see this? I believe this is your cooler, Peggy, Hamlin County.
Yes.
And this is precisely after the moment you cleaned it, correct?
What's that? I'm sorry, my dog is barking.
This must be precisely after the moment you cleaned your cooler.
Yes.
Okay, and you have a fairly new cooler?
Yeah, 2010, I got to design this with the whole building. So it was kind of fun.
Sure. You want to discuss anything we see here?
It's I think it's a 20 by 40 some foot. I cannot even remember right now, but I did have the shelves custom built, so they do hold the big Sioux boxes. We had labels on each of those on each of the spots in there, but that doesn't always work because then you know, and then the excess would go on these pallets in the back here. You know, if you get lilac and you get 3,000, you stack the extra boxes behind there. But it's like a big refrigerator meat locker door.
Right here?
Yep. Yep, and then I put those plastic things, you know, so when you're running in and out, you're not losing all your cool air. Usually, they're not usually strapped back like that, only when we're finished with the season. It's got 2 floor drains in there.
Looks very clean.
Once a year.
Pardon me?
Once a year, it's clean.
Once a year.
Yeah.
So does your floor get quite dirty with cedar chips and that stuff?
It does. I try to sweep it out almost every night, or it just it gets to be bad in there, just even from pulling trees out of the boxes, you know, and stuff like that. So we try to sweep it every night.
That's the only one I got pulled up. I don't know if anybody's got any comments. Anybody else have a fairly new cooler or a fairly old one, or who's looking at building a new cooler? Any comments on your cooler?
That's very similar to Marshall County's cooler, only we have actually wooden, we have shelving, we have, instead of separate, you know, going across, we actually have boards across. And it works out well. We have 2 doors though, one that go into my office, and then we have a door that's a double door that where we can back up the trailer. So when they load out trees in the morning, because a lot of times I have people waiting for trees and I can go through in and out the other door, and only 1 drain too, but similar to that. Looks good, Peggy.
Yep, it's pretty nice compared to what, you know, when I first started. This was like, I was 6 months into my job, but I had started with one tree season on the other little tree shed, and it was horrendous. I mean, I don't even know if it was an 8x10 building, and tree boxes were stacked 5 and 6 on top of each other. And every time you wanted a tree, it was in that bottom box. It was horrendous. So to move to this, it was really nice.
Does anybody have shelves in there, as in drawers that you could pull out those big boxes and slide them back in? Or they're just stored, so every time you go into that box, you just take that box and pick out what you need?
Yeah, but I just pull mine out and open it up right on the shelf.
That's what I do too, and then just fill up boxes for that day for that planting.
Yeah.
So when you're pulling hand orders and you have to open some of these mixed up boxes, are you putting the partial bundles back in that box and then folding the lids on top? Or are you taking the loose bundles out and then putting like cedar chips on top to mist those? That's what we did. I don't think that was the right way to do it. Just seeing what people are doing.
We just tie them and shove them back in there and put them under the plastic and shut the box.
That's what we do too.
That's what I do too. Sometimes I tie them with a different color ribbon. We have some of this plastic ribbon and we can kind of tell, and you can tell once the double twine has been broke out of a bundle, that's not a full bundle. And I always tell my guys that too when they're loading. I said, that's not a full bundle if that twine has been broke. It usually has 2 sets of twine on it.
Yeah, so if we open a new bundle, the new not full bundle gets tied with green twine, and the full bundle still have that original white plastic stuff that they come in. So it's very obvious which is which.
Yeah, you'd hate to part with a partial bundle that you didn't know it was a full bundle. Anybody else have any pictures? I could allow you to share your content. If you had a picture to share, consider maybe pulling that up, and I would give you control to do as such. If you do, go ahead and share on our Facebook page too. I think that always starts good conversations. You could share at your leisure on that SCACDE page. So you could always come back to that too. One other post or one other topic, I guess, if we want to switch gears here again. I know Arbor Day is coming up, and many are going into the schools. Or maybe are not because of COVID, but I was going to open up that discussion to see if anybody had anything excited planned for Arbor Day that they wanted to share and what they were planning to do today. Are people planning on giving out trees this year to the 4th grade?
I can't get a single teacher to email me back. I've
Really?
emailed them 3 times, and I've got Sisseton, Teospa, Rossalt, Summit, Wilmot. I have 5 schools, not one teacher. I don't know if I should just buy them and dump them off in a 5-gallon bucket and say have at it. I don't know what to do. Frustrating. I know they're busy and this pandemic is hard, but I don't know.
We're going to be handing out the trees, but I don't know what we're going to do about in school. Usually we have a session and then we plant one large tree in Britton community and one large one in Langford's community.
Howard just started letting us in. If we go in with a mask on, we can do any of the class stuff. So we've gotten to do the poster and the Arbor Day essay, and we're working on some Nature Day events for a couple of grades. So, but that just started. I mean, that just opened up last month.
We're actually going into the middle school for last year's fifth graders and this year's fifth graders. So it'll be like 200 kids, and we're going to do it all outside because the presenter can't go into the school.
That's what we're doing too. We're doing last year's fifth graders and this year's fourth grade, or last year's fourth graders. So just because we missed them, we just kind of canceled last year. Are people getting a good response this year to the poster contest and to the essay as compared to years past, or not so well?
The essays, I really never know until the day they drop them off, and usually that's the last day. But so far, they've all agreed, so we'll see what happens.
Both my fifth and sixth grade, all of them have to participate. In other years, they've had to do poems and essays, and this year they have to do an essay and then they can do a poem. So, but you know, we're pretty small populated, so.
It's the same with our trees. No one has responded, acknowledged my email. I don't know. Stupid.
Maybe you're going to, maybe your emails are going to junk email. I've noticed that problem with my SDA, with my SD conservation email, that a lot of people, their junk mail catches it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what's fun is my sixth grade teacher is a student I had.
Oh.
So that shows how old I am. He's like, I can't wait to do the tree thing. Pretty sad.
I wonder how that teacher's tree is doing today.
Probably good. He's pretty excited about the whole thing. He's lining up nature days and all kinds of fun stuff. So.
Cool.
But he's big into wrestling right now, so that should calm down here in a few.
Yeah, so has anybody had contacted their state forester for the presentations? I know up in our neck of the woods, I think they're staying away from that. How are the other state foresters doing?
Nobody's ever helped us in Minor County. So.
Or Brookings.
Different.
Oh, really?
No. I go into, I go into the classrooms upon request. You know, they get the information for the Arbor Day essay contest and that type of thing. So it's up to them if they want to participate. A couple of years ago, Elkton wanted me to come over to the kindergarten classes. I had the time of my life there. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. But anyway, so yeah, 2 groups. And of course, you guys all know that age group. They're all pretty busy and not afraid to ask questions, even if it's not on Arbor Day. But yeah, the kids loved it. And afterwards, they all got a tree, and teacher took a big class picture with me in it. And then they sent a copy of that picture, 8 by 10, and they had all signed their names on there. I cried. It was so touching. I have it framed, hanging up in the office. That was just like the best day ever.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Okay. I got Lindsay. You got a cooler video ready to share?
Yeah, it's the one that I posted this last spring.
Okay. Yeah, I think I did see that in there in the chat there. Yeah, why don't you pull that up? I was trying to find it actually, so.
And it's buried in a comment.
I think so.
So we have old, rusty, fallen apart metal shelves that we got to do a lot of work to this spring. But we cover everything with tarp because we always run out of room.
That's like 8 times bigger than Robert's whole dungeon in the ground.
This is like 8 times bigger than the old one. But it's
What
not
year
big
is
enough.
yours?
Oh, I don't remember when Diane did it. I want to say late 2000s, maybe.
Did you, so do you, on some of those that you have in the tarp, do you, those are open boxes in there?
So we get quite a bit of stock from Lincoln Oaks Nursery in Bismarck, and they always come unboxed.
Oh,
Yep. So, when they deliver it, it just comes covered with shingle tow and tarp and stuff in the back of their truck that they deliver it with. Last year and then now this coming spring, they're shipping them via UPS. So my entire order will just come in one ginormous, huge box on a pallet. So
But then,
I've got.
Yeah, I saved some old boxes back from Big Sue, and then I rebox Lincoln Oaks when it comes. But it's kind of, yeah, I agree with you. It's a mess when theirs come, but sometimes that's our only place to get the extra trees if we
Right.
can't
Yeah,
find them.
I've had to rely on them quite a bit now because I keep getting all these giant last minute tree orders, and they're the only place that's got anything left. So you got to do what you got to do.
That's for sure.
Tall bear got pulled against the walls there out of the box because the boxes are just way too big and cumbersome. I can't handle them giant enormous boxes that the 4, 5, 6 foot stock come in. I just can't. So those get stood up against the wall, covered with straw or shingle tow or whatever, and watered regularly, taken care of. So.
Yesterday, we talked about a little bit about using straw or using like the cedar chips or the shingle tow. So my question is, we do both actually, and because we don't have a cooler, we use a reefer. The scare was last year that COVID might take our reefer, so we were a little bit nervous, but it ended up okay. So now, what we do is we stand up the tall trees in the back of the reefer, but we've covered them with straw now, and they have to be watered every single day. And the bottom of that reefer has, most of you know what a reefer looks like, but it's got a groove in it, so the excess water can drain away. And there's holes in each corner of the reefer, so it does drain away. And then our boxes stay to the front. And it's worked actually really well. But we're hoping someday we get to have a cooler. That's something we continue to work on. But question for you is, do you prefer the chips versus the straw, or do you use both, or how do you guys handle that?
I prefer the old shingle tow that Big Sue used to have, the stuff that's come the last couple years. It just didn't feel like it held together or worked very well. So we did straw last year for the first time. What a giant mess. The cooler just looked like a tornado went off no matter how hard we tried. That straw was everywhere. I don't know. I'm on the fence that
I used straw for the first time last year on our big Bailey's trees, but I found that works better on the bigger Bailey's trees roots. It keeps them covered way better than the wood chips did. It's not pretty, but it works.
Yeah, it worked really well. It did an excellent job of keeping the big Bailey stuff, covered and, that kind of thing, but it just was a giant mess.
That's pretty much what our reefer looks like, although we use tarps we fold the tarp in half and we put it over the straw also, just to make sure that the reefer actually dries out like he spoke about yesterday. The reefer actually dries out anything that isn't covered. So we did put the straw down just like that picture you're looking at. And then we did put tarps and we kind of tuck them in between the trees just to keep that moisture. And yeah, it's a mess, but what do you do? At the end of the season, you take a shovel and you push it all to the end of the reefer and clean it out. You know, I don't know what else to do.
So this is our reefer truck with our big Bailey's trees. And yeah, we just use straw bales. Of course, it's, you know, we don't have a drain in the reefer truck. So, you know, at the end of the season, you just open the back door, shove everything out the back end and take care of it. Of course, it's messy, but yeah, you know, we don't it's something you probably do have to water once a day. Soak that wheat really good beforehand because it's dry and it doesn't absorb water. So it wicks water until it gets saturated. So that is our wheat process, but wheat straw.
One thing we've gone to, we don't sell as many big fruit trees and trees like you guys all do because we got so much competition with the landscape people here in Sioux Falls. But we used to put them in a reefer and then we used to put them in our cooler, and our cooler was never tall enough. So about 4 years ago, we decided we invested in about 6 cattle tanks. And when we get them from Big Sioux or wherever we get them from, they go in the cattle tank covered with shingle tow, and they sit outside. If the nights are going to get cold, we move them in on a pallet and set them in the shed. They leaf out, people pick them up. We've had a lot better response that way than we have having them in the cooler and stuff too. So I don't know, it works for us. Probably wouldn't work for some others, but we don't get as many. Maybe we sell 50 and you guys sell 200-300 or more, but we just don't get that many in. But we put them in. We went from the other, like you guys there, with we always use shingle tow. I'd prefer shingle tow than the cedar chips. They don't seem to hold the moisture like the shingle tow does, but you know, so that's what we've been doing.
Can you still get shingle tow somewhere?
No, not that I'm aware of. We always just got it through Big Sioux, and you know, I guess according to Mark, we're getting cedar chip bales, so we might as well go to Farm Supply and get them here. So I don't know about you guys. I haven't heard anybody that has the shingle tow available.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, we just have been getting the chips now too from Big Sioux, but like you said, we could just as well just go to the store and pick it up ourselves.
Yep. So, no. Yeah, and we had quite a few gardeners that bought shingle tow from us because a lot of them used it in on their raspberries and stuff and that. So we had kind of a small market for it, but it's not available, and I guess I haven't dug in to try to find any place either. So.
Amy, are you going on a walk?
Yep, enjoying the nice weather.
Maybe we shouldn't keep you too long.
I've
It's
been walking
beautiful.
since the whole meeting started.
Soon for all of us. Does anybody have any other discussion items they'd like to bring up here? Kind of wrapping things up here a little bit, but yeah, if anybody's got something they want to visit with your fellow experts.
I have a question, go figure. We are going to be selling tree protectors for the first time and putting them on these trees. How much time and labor is involved in that on new seedlings? I mean, I guess we'll find out. I'm just curious before it happens.
We sell quite a few tree protectors and that, and if we install them, we figure 2 minutes a tree. Pound the stake, put the protector over the stake and put the tree at the same time, and do it when right after you put the fabric on, then the trees aren't too big. So, but we figure about 2 minutes a tree. Buck a minute.
So you do $2 a tube?
Yep. $2, $2 a stake, $4.50 a tube. $2 a stake. Install it.
Is that for 2 people, John, when you're talking about 2 minutes? Or
Yep.
is it? Okay.
No, 2 people. One
So it's
holding
really
the stake, one
4
pounding,
minutes.
and then one holding the leaves and one dropping the tube over the top. So that's how we do it. So, and if they're 5-foot tree tubes, which we've had more people for wildlife purposes go to the 5-foot than the 4s, because 4-foot is about the exact reach of a yearling fawn. When the trees come out of the top of the tube, they snip the cottonwoods and the silver maples right off, right there. At 5-foot, they tend to leave them alone a little bit more. So, but that's the rate we go. So.
I think this is a picture from Clark County on their tree tube system.
That was a producer that had a small site, and so he was pretty particular as to how his were set up. If you advance that, Josh, you can see where some of those, well, there is where he did stakes and I think that looks like, you know, a wire that he put around. And if you advance, yeah. And then he also did a steel fence post instead of some of our stakes, because he wanted that to be upright and sturdy. But you can see it's close to his site, so he was there to maintain it. Oops, the other way. Go one more, or 2 more even. And then you can see where, right there, you can see where he put 2 steel fence posts right by his, that's the conifer. And he said that helps prevent the deer from, you know, even rubbing, pawing, anything like that. Especially the buck, their antlers get in those steel fence posts, and then they can't, you know, mess with them as much. And that tree site, I don't know that he even lost a tree. That survival rate was extremely high. Of course, it was, you know, close to his his building site, so he could maintain it. So he was pretty proud of that site.
How many people use it? I'm assuming a lot of people use a Plantra tube system. Do others, what do others use for their tube systems? Plantra. See, Stephanie used the 6-foot tubes, huh? And they work pretty good for you? Tree Pro is another one. Anybody have issues with the Plantra tubes being kind of sharp on the tops? And so when the wind blows, that tree gets a little cuts in there. They grow out of that, but.
So the Plantra doesn't have a folded over edge at the top. We're just ordering ours from there for the first time this year. Otherwise, we always use Tree Pro.
Yeah, so those are a little different than what we had before, Gene, because those other ones had that rounded top. These are just kind of, they're pretty square, pretty rigid.
I would say the Tree Pros is the ones, we've had various other kinds, but Tree Pro seems to be the most preferred by our customers and the ones that seem to allow the tree to grow with the least amount of damage, because they got the curved or rolled top. Otherwise, that little sharp edge can cut the branches as it gets older and sways in the wind. So, and the other thing we went to, away from wooden stakes, we went to 3/4 inch PVC pipe. and cut it. And then you just pound that in the ground with a dead blow hammer. You can put a half wedge on the bottom so it goes in the ground. And the deer and stuff don't chew on it, and they don't break when they bust them up with their antlers and stuff. So that was another wildlife thing that we worked on the last few years. So it's just a tidbit. Works for us. Not everybody wants to use them, but. And plus you can pour water down there and help hydrate the roots on your trees. So.
Where did you say you get your pipe and you cut it yourself?
Yeah, we just go to the local lumber yard, just ask them for the best deal we can get on a bundle of 3/4 inch PVC and cut it in the lengths we need. And you can do it all yourself. Cut it with measured off, chalk it with a line, and just cut it in the bundle with a Sawzall, and about 4 cuts and you're done. So
I've had really good luck with the fiberglass stakes too. They pound in so nice and so easy and straight. We've done that the PVC pipe too, and it seems like it's kind of a pain to get the hammer up there, or I don't know if you have a pounder, but it always seems like they never end up straight either when they're all said and done.
Yeah, good. And if you use a dead blow hammer, the malls that are sand filled, they take that rebound out of the bar so you don't get that spring back so much.
Yeah.
That helps. But yeah, so they can be a little trickier. But they don't break and they don't get busted off, and people don't have to come back and buy more. So.
Well, isn't that the purpose?
Yeah.
What's the job security? We want them coming back. So.
Hey, this has been great. I got a 4 o'clock appointment I got to go to, so I got to head out. So you guys have good spring season, and be safe, and we'll talk to you later. Hopefully we can have some more of these.
Yes, sounds very good. Yeah, we are kind of wrapping things up here, so I think that's kind of, I just kind of wanted to have a little open forum here for conversations. So, yeah, I think the idea, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got some dates set for the summer for in-person leadership training. Tammy, do you want to pipe in with those dates? Or if anybody knows.
The dates are June 28, 29, and 30. And so 30 is when Big Sue comes in and does their meeting, and we're having it in Pierre again at the Ramkota. And then I think a half a day on the 20th, just kind of the same plan as we've always had. So anyway, hopefully it will work out.
Sure hope so.
If you guys have some training things that you want, make sure you send them either to myself or to your area director. So, or to Josh or Yvette.
Yep. All right, very good. Well, good seeing everybody again. So, yeah, this was kind of fun. So it's good to visit and catch up and see how things are going. But yeah, I guess that's all I had, unless anybody had any final comments. Yes, go ahead.
Well, I've got a comment on the SDACD Memorial Scholarship.
Sure, yeah.
Those need to be postmarked by March 31st and sent to me. And I've gotten a half dozen of them in, I suppose. So I know there's a lot of new employees out. I did send the information. The form was, or the application form was updated, just adding like a phone number, because we've had some issues with those students that received the scholarship not turning in their second semester. At least we'll have a contact.
What?
Anyway, I just wanted to mention that about the scholarship. And if you can email me if you don't have the form or need to find it, or you can find it on our Brookings Conservation District website also. So that was all I had.
I'm sorry, I have one more question, but if people want to leave and not listen to me, that's fine. On your fabric planters. Now, those of you that don't know me yet with all of my emails, I'm brand new, kind of new, within a year. And I gave birth right at planting season last year, right when I got hired. So I wasn't out in the field with the crew. I've been told, and Carrie just left, I guess we have an emergency meeting right now because we're going to 25% staff. So she'll fill me in on that later, but she says, watching your guys' videos of those planters, ours doesn't roll the soil as nicely. And she said, if we aren't putting those staples in right when they're putting that fabric, it's like blowing up. So does that just mean the guys need to adjust something, or do we have a janky system? Has anybody run into this, and what did you do to fix it?
It sounds like you need to adjust your discs. We've had to do the same thing. And make sure that your machine's level.
We've also had to add weights, so there's like old school tractor weights on the front of our fabric machine as well, to help with keeping the whole thing level, especially on very uneven ground. But yeah, I would say your discs need to be adjusted, and then you need to make sure you're staying level.
You guys have those tires on there that push the fabric into the slot, right? Before you roll the, that sound familiar at all, Kristen?
No.
There should be 2 tires that push that fabric down into the slot, cut by the disc, right before the disc throws the dirt back over it. And it keeps that fabric in position. That's how ours is set up anyways.
Ours is too.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you could go look at another neighboring county's fabric machine, you know, just to kind of get a visual compared to yours too, so.
That was the most helpful thing I did, is venture off to Spring County and check out their operation there. So just kind of was interesting to see, just to see different techniques, how people do it. And I thought I could steal their crew for a day or two, but.
That is something I'm interested in. Depending on how soon everybody gets their jobs lined up, if they're before we get ours, I am willing to drive to you to volunteer a day or a couple days to be on your crew to learn some steps before I have to do it here myself, if you know time allows. So I'm just putting that out there.
Kristen, what county are you from? I forget.
Roberts.
Roberts, okay. There's been so many new ones come and go, and I can't remember who's from where. That's old age too.
What else? Time to go to the bar?
Happy hour, yeah, usually that's after the last day meeting, isn't
It's
it?
only about 150 feet out my back door. Let's go.
I'll see you in a bit.
At home, I maybe been doing it for happy hour.
My bar is 2 doors down.
Yeah, there's literally the house, the alleyway, and then there's Schwanny's.
Amy, she's booking it already. She's on her way.
Is she running or riding a horse or
I don't know what she's
bicycling?
doing.
I'm walking.
Oh,
Overachiever.
Already got 2.5 miles in.
Jeez.
I'm at 0 today.
I had
You had
Taco
good
John's
reason,
while we had our
Josh.
meeting.
You got to stay home and rest, Josh.
Yeah, that's right. I'm on lockdown, so I can't go anywhere. Even if I went to the bar, I'd be 6 feet away from all you guys, so.
well, I have to go sort use
Yep.
and lambs, so you could help me.
What's that?
I said I have to go sort ewes and lambs to
Oh,
take cull ewes, and that's outdoors. So, you know, if you want to zip on right down.
I might. Outdoors activities encouraged. So,
Use could help Tammy out.
yeah. Oh, nice play on words.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, good seeing everybody. I think we'll end the meeting here, but it was good to get together. So, kind of.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.